The Architecture of a Lie, a novel by Gemini. Chapter 1. The Golden Facade. The Santa Monica sun hung low over the Pacific, casting long, amber shadows across the balcony of apartment 201. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of sea salt and the faint, lingering aroma of Jack Tripper's latest culinary experiment, a soufflé that had defied the laws of gravity just long enough to be admired before collapsing. "Come and knock on our door," Jack hummed to himself, adjusting his apron. It was a mantra of sorts, a rhythm that defined their unconventional life. For Jack, Janet Wood, and Cindy Snow, the apartment was more than just a living space. It was a sanctuary of shared secrets and platonic intimacy. In a world of rigid expectations, they were a trio that defied the odds, two women and one man, living in a harmony that their landlord, the perpetually suspicious and flamboyant Mr. Ralph Furley, only accepted because he believed Jack's heart belonged to the brotherhood of men rather than the pursuit of women. The door burst open, and Janet and Cindy marched in, their faces flushed with a mixture of exhaustion and mild indignation. "We've been waiting for you," Janet sighed, dropping her purse onto the wicker coffee table. "Where are the kisses?" Jack joked, sensing the tension. One for her, and for me? I'll take a double." Janet rolled her eyes, though a small smile tugged at her lips. "Our friend Sue told us they were real gentlemen, Jack. Some gentlemen. First, they shook our hands with polite smiles, and then they spent the rest of the night trying to shake the rest of us. Honestly, I think your friends need a lesson in boundaries." Jack chuckled, leaning against the kitchen counter. "Well, we all can't be lucky. Thank you very much. But tonight is different. Tonight, I have invited someone truly special over." Cindy, always the dreamer, leaned forward. "No," Jack said, his voice dropping into a deeper, more sophisticated register. "Not a girl, Cindy. A woman. A woman with class. Her name is Lisa Page. She's an interior decorator, and I told her I needed some professional advice." "What's she going to decorate?" Janet asked skeptically, gesturing to the mismatch of 70s decor and Jack's kitchen gadgets. Jack's eyes twinkled with a classic Tripper mischief. "I don't know. I'd like to see how she looks on the sofa first. You know, get a feel for the ergonomics." "I've had enough of this," Janet said, standing up. "I'm headed for bed. Between the bad date and the bad puns, I'm exhausted." "Me too," Cindy added, yawning. "I'm going to sleep so long that when I wake up, they're going to have to dust me." Jack's bravado faltered. Wait. Girls, what about my date? What about the apartment? I sort of told Lisa that I lived alone." Janet stopped at the hallway door, her expression hardening into one of amused pity. "That, dear boy, is your problem. Cindy and I will be in there, dead to the world, and that's the best you're going to get." "Janet, help me out," Jack pleaded, but the click of the bedroom door was his only answer. Chapter 2. The Macho and the Turtle. The evening took a turn for the surreal when a knock at the door revealed Mr. Furley, dressed in a leisure suit that could only be described as an assault on the visual senses, a kaleidoscope of lime green and electric orange. "Hi, kids," Furley announced, his chest puffed out. "Listen, I need one of you to feed my turtle while I'm gone." "Janet would love to do it," Jack shouted, seizing any opportunity to be helpful. "Where are you going, Mr. Furley?" Cindy asked, peeking back out. "On a wonderful romantic weekend, made just for two," Furley said, his voice dripping with an unearned swagger. "A leisurely drive to La Jolla, dinner by candlelight, some intimate dancing, the works." "Wow," Cindy breathed. "Any woman would love that." Furley's face suddenly crumbled, the bravado evaporating. "Do you know one who would like to go with me?" The silence that followed was heavy. Janet and Cindy beat a hasty retreat to the kitchen, leaving Jack alone with the landlord's desperation. "Jack," Furley said, leaning in, "I know you look at me and say to yourself, that Furley never has any trouble getting women. I've got the moves, the threads, the savoir-faire. I drive them crazy, right?" "Crazy," Jack echoed, his voice flat. But believe it or not, even I can have a brief little dry spell. My last date was in February. February? That's not so long, Jack offered. 2 years ago, Furley whispered. So Jack, fix me up? You must run into women at the hairdresser's or wherever you go. Someone beautiful, intelligent, a woman who can appreciate a real macho. I don't know, Mr. Furley. Fine, forget intelligent, as long as she can dress herself. Forget beautiful, they're shallow anyway. Jack, if she has body heat and speaks a few words of English, I want to meet her. Furley thrust a key into Jack's hand. Here's the key to my apartment, for the Turtle. Since I'll be gone all weekend, I'm leaving in 30 minutes. As Furley left, a light bulb, perhaps a slightly flickering one, went off in Jack's head. He looked at the key, then at his own cluttered living room. He had a date with a high-class interior decorator who thought he lived alone, and he now had the key to a mostly empty apartment downstairs. Chapter 3. The Descent into Deception. When Lisa Page arrived, she was everything Jack had promised. Elegant, sharp-witted, and possessing an eye that seemed to catalogue the floors of a room in seconds. Jack, she said, stepping into what she thought was his new home, but was actually Mr. Furley's bachelor pad. Didn't you say you lived on the second floor? I do, Jack lied smoothly, ushering her in. It's just that. The building is sinking, geologically speaking. Lisa laughed, a melodic sound that made Jack's heart skip. You are so funny. But Jack, this place, it's a decorator's nightmare. All this junk. I know, Jack said, gesturing wildly at Furley's velvet paintings. I rented it furnished. I'm still trying to talk the landlord, a tragic figure named Mr. Furley, into changing it. You should talk him into burning it, Lisa remarked, walking toward the hallway. Where's the bathroom? Or are we in it? As Lisa disappeared down the hall, the front door swung open. Jack froze. It was Mr. Furley. Mr. Furley, what are you doing home? Oh, I was cruising along, thinking how lucky I was going to get when I ran into a tow truck, Furley grumbled. He towed me home. I got to talk on the radio, though. Charlie Baker, 10 to 4 out. Jack panicked. Lisa was in the bathroom. Furley was in the living room. The worlds were colliding. Mr. Furley, you ruined the surprise, Jack blurted out. You asked me to find a girl for you, and I found one. She's an interior decorator, and she couldn't wait to see your incredible decor. When Lisa emerged, Jack performed the most frantic introduction of his life. To his surprise, Lisa, thinking Furley was some eccentric client or friend of Jack's, began to play along. I've never seen anything like this, she told Furley, staring at a plastic bust of Elvis. It should be on exhibit. People would pay admission. Furley's chest doubled in size. I decorated it myself. I'm not surprised, Lisa said, her voice dripping with a sarcasm that went entirely over Furley's head. Chapter 4. The Pen Pal Protocol. The evening eventually migrated upstairs to the real apartment 201. Jack had managed to usher Lisa away from Furley, claiming they needed a change of perspective, but the peace was short-lived. As they sat on the sofa, Jack trying desperately to steer the conversation toward romance and away from the weak floorboards he claimed were the reason they couldn't move too much, the bedroom door creaked open. Janet and Cindy crawled out on all fours, trying to sneak to the kitchen for a midnight snack without being seen. Who are you? Lisa demanded, jumping to her feet. Jack scrambled. Who? Them. Oh, they're my pen pals from up north. They had nowhere to stay, and I'm a charitable soul. I can't kick them out, or they'll never write me another letter. Janet looked at Jack, then at Lisa, then back at Jack. The silence was deafening. You are an awful liar, Lisa shouted, grabbing her coat. Jack Tripper, I never want to see you again. As the door slammed, Cindy looked at Jack with a mix of pity and admiration. You're not an awful liar, Jack. You're just about the best darn liar I've ever met. Chapter 5. The Vow of Truth. The next morning, the apartment was quiet. Jack emerged from his room, not with his usual bounce, but with the somber gravity of a man who had seen the mountaintop and found it wanting. Good morning, ladies, he said, pouring a cup of coffee. I feel wonderful. Because last night I found the truth. I took a vow. From now on, I'm never going to lie again. Janet snorted. Well, good for you, Jack. It was always there. You just never bothered to look. I'm serious, Jack insisted. And to start, Janet, remember when you asked me to close the flower shop for you, and I said I didn't have time? I lied. I had the time. I just didn't want to be bothered. Janet's face fell. I missed my date with Greg Dunn because of that. And Cindy, Jack continued, relentless in his new holiness. That cough medicine I sent you to 5 drugstores for in the rain? It didn't exist. I just wanted you out of the apartment so I could have Monique over.